Hello, everyone. So it is our fifth live session today. Mark and I are not together because of COVID. So we both have COVID, so we are not allowed to be in the same room, but we can be with you. This live session is about science, and we have two special guests. I'm going to introduce them in a little minute. But in the meantime, hi, Eric. Hi, Sami.
Hello.
In the meantime, while you are joining, we have a poll, and it can be interesting if you want to answer it, just for our curiosity to know where you are from. North America, South America, Europe, Africa, or Oceania. What is your job title? That's always nice for us to know if you are a teacher for the visually impaired, a mainstream teacher, other kind of job. You know, you always have the other solution. So if it is other, use the chat to indicate what it is. And we also like to know if you are attending the online course on FutureLab platform, or if you are not, or if you are willing to. So we can see 22 people so far, and you are beginning to answer the question. So we can see people from Europe, most of you, then North America. So far, no one from South America, people from Africa and Oceania. So we are happy because you are always joining us in the middle of the night. Thank you. And you are still answering. Maybe I'm gonna not quickly, but end the poll because we have some answers, and then it's gonna be time for us to start. So if I share the result, most of you are from Europe. I said that. Then North America, Africa, and Oceania. We have a majority of teaching assistant, welcome. A few, some TVI, mainstream teacher. We're always happy to have you here. O&M, no OT, students, and other. And we have 56 people who are already attending the online course, 25 no, and a lot of people also are planned to. So if we stop that and go to the chat, so no one used the chat. We don't know what are the others. Okay. The video of the previous sessions are available. You can have access to them on YouTube. So I'm just going to add for you the link here. We have a Lego Bread Bricks YouTube channel. You can go there, find many videos and the recording of the 4 previous live sessions. Before this one, it was about math. We have educators' mindset, facilitation, and pre-braille. So I think we can start. Today, I am with Mark, of course. Hi, Mark.
Hello.
Also, Eric, science teacher from the Netherlands, is joining. Hi, Eric. We are really happy to have you here. And we're going to nice. And we're going to start with Sami, another science teacher from Finland, who joined us also today, and he's going to present his amazing ways to use Lego Bread Bricks with science.
Yeah, thanks for that, Marie. So yeah. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and as everybody, could you enable the share screen?
Yes, I'm going to do that. So remember, you can always use the chat to ask questions, make comments, and we will be here to manage. So I think now, Sami, you can share your screen.
Yes.
Perfect.
And I assume that you can see the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really nice to be here this evening for me. I'm speaking from Helsinki, Finland. And I'm gonna share some ideas about how to use Lego bricks, maybe give some information and inspiration, how we use them here in Finland, and how you could be using them from a computing and information processing viewpoints. But first, I'm gonna tell you, who am I? That's a good question to ask yourself sometimes. I've actually graduated as a mathematics teacher, a subject teacher here in Finland, and now I work as a planner at Celia, which is the library for the blind. And we make library services for blind people and also people with difficulty reading printed text in any other way as well. And I also work as a project lead in math in Braille project that we have at Celia. We make mathematics study material for 5th and 6th graders at the moment, and that is actually going to be the finalization of our project this time in the coming spring. And I mainly produce study materials such as audiobooks. I have made some instructions on how to read mathematics in an audiobook format. And also I've been doing some statistic books that people with print disabilities can also use and read. And here's a little bit about the Finnish curriculum regarding science and computing. So we also try to make science really hands-on, connected to everyday life. We're trying to ask questions from the students, like how do you see these phenomena in your everyday life? How can you prepare yourself to actually know like what's happening when you're heating like a kettle of water? And in comprehensive school, it's more about describing qualitative work and just learning how to explain your thought processes and explain the phenomena as they're happening. And then in secondary school, it gets more quantitative, that we actually calculate and estimate and stuff like that. And all the while, it's important to get the basics of lab work down. For example, in physics, we have heat and temperature that we focus on at first, and then mass and weight, and energy, how it changes from one form to another, and then also mechanics. And in chemistry, we look at mixing solutions and also mixing different elements together, such as like sugar in water and stuff like that. And then we have different reaction types that we look at, and then some rudimentary notation, which I think even the Lego bricks could be used for and useful with it.
Yeah, maybe just one quick question in order to understand. Do you have a science curriculum as a whole, or do you have really specific things for chemistry, for biology, and so on? Or is it more general also?
Oh, that's a good question. It's from grades 1 to 6. It's more about the general, like it's kind of like added in biology, physics, chemistry. And when you get to like 7th to 9th grades, then you go into more subject specific things, okay, such as like physics and chemistry, biology, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah, but a good question. And yeah, then I say about computing. I have here kind of divided it into programming and information processing. And in Finland, we do both of these as part of mathematics and mathematics teaching. You learn basic programming ideas in elementary school, and then text-based programming, as in actual, for example, Python code, you would do later in the upper comprehensive, like 7th grade and on. And then information processing has interesting topics as like classifying and arranging and making sense of information. And the way that we use Lego Braille bricks in Finland at the moment is that it's mainly for pre-Braille and orientation, how you get to use the Braille letters in the bricks, and then we also distribute them to preschools and the start of school, start of elementary school, basically. And we really want to focus on and put emphasis on inclusion, because this is really like a good, quick way of enabling interactivity between readers and the rest of the class. It's easy to, for example, in maths, I've done some study materials that asks the other student to make an equation with the bricks, and then you can give it to your classmate, for example, that they can solve it, and then you can do back and forth kind of communication that way. And I do really think that the strength is in the handiness. They are quick to reach and handle, easy to go back and forth between classmates.
Yeah, and maybe just another question about that. Do you think that's very easy to incorporate Lego Braille bricks in, generally speaking, in all the lessons? Or do you think it really has to be specific to one topic, or like math, or can it be really used for a lot of skills that are in your curriculum?
Yeah, like I don't see why not. Like, of course, my specialty is in math and physics teaching, so I'm trying to mainly think from that point of view. But I would say, like, in any lesson that you would need interactivity, I would like really recommend using this, especially before like having computer access, because at least in Finland it's possible then just like write plain letters and then show it to your classmate. So in that sense, Lego Braille bricks works well for that as well.
Okay, great.
So yeah, these are, because I mainly make study material. I don't work with, for example, visually impaired students or children. We have the Valtteri school and the teachers that do it full time, and we provide the material that they can use. So these are some kind of ideas that I'd like to give across to you, maybe some inspiration. I would be very interested in hearing what kind of tasks you have come up with. So I'll be looking out on the Facebook group, what's happening over there. But this is how we usually approach programming in the Finnish school. In elementary, we go the pseudocode route, as in like write instructions on how to brush your teeth. You take the brush and then you bring it to your teeth, and then you go back and forth, and not really be that like nitpicky on are you using the correct vocabulary here or not. And then also this one exercise could be like give instructions on how to get to the cafeteria to somebody new that's just new to the building. I would imagine that this is, especially for a blind student, it might be an interesting task, because there's work that has to be done mentally to, you know, map out the school building, and then how would you do it yourself? And it also gives like a nice interactivity there as well between different students.
Yeah, so one question, so being able to describe and give instruction in when you are brushing your teeth and so on, that's the first step of computing that can go then to computing.
Yeah, basically to just get it down that it's about the stepwise
In different steps
process. Yeah. And then also some tasks we have incorporated into our study material is to like make mazes with Legos, for example, is that you make a maze and you have some dead ends there, dead ends here, but then you have also the correct way to go through the maze. And then you would write instructions on how to get through the maze, and maybe even give those instructions to a classmate. They can see if the instructions work, like in any situation. How do you have to change the instructions so you can move in a new maze? And then you can also give the students to make a maze for themselves and give that to a classmate and try to have them follow instructions on how to get out of the maze. And those are like the rudimentary programming types that you can do. Then I'd say there's the information processing part about classifying information. For example, with Lego bricks, I was thinking you could make it so that you divide different kind of letters on the board, and then you can also you can ask the student to find out, like, okay, how many letters of A are there, how many letters of B are there, etc. And because of how the bricks work, it's actually really easy to then just arrange them into a bar chart. So it's about finding information on the board and then arranging it into a better manageable way of seeing how the information actually is there on the board, but as a bar chart. And
in the chat,
really goes. Yeah.
In the chat, we have Pamela saying that she uses the Lego bricks, the classic one, for science and computing.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting as well.
And just something I can say, because that's really very interesting what you're saying, because of course we can use Lego bricks as tool to make, like you've said, the instruction to go to somewhere where you don't go and so on. But also what is interesting here is that you are using learning through play philosophy to do that, because for those of you who are familiar with Lego bricks and learning through play with Lego bricks, we can see that the 5 skills that are, if we want to succeed in teaching with learning through play, we have to deal with social skills. And that's exactly what you said in the group, because you're working in groups with your friends and so on. We have also to deal with emotional, physical, cognitive, and creative skills. And for me, that's really a good example of learning through play, because we need to develop all those skills in order to be able to reach the final computing skills. I don't know if you agree with that, but the holistic, the global view of the child here is really important.
Yeah, I really have to say that I agree. And even with the danger of going off on a tangent, because I'm quite passionate about mathematics teaching, and I think there's always a place to have like a more holistic approach to maths, especially with like the social and emotional parts, because there's a lot of emotions going through when you're doing maths, and I think it's really important to go through with them, with the student, as they are doing it. And it's great that there are tools that really allow students to work together as well, how to actually talk about the emotions that happen there, how to talk about your own strategies, how to come up with strategies together. I feel like that's something we sometimes overlook in math education. And even though maths was a live session a month ago, computing is like so closely tied to it. So I just had to get that out there.
Yeah, that's right.
We have someone else in the chat, Martina. She says that she also uses the biggest Lego, you know, the Duplo for science computing. In fact, I think people build all the layers of the computing program just to make something tangible. And with Lego bricks, you can do that. And you can have the use of the letters. So it's one way to go further.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Like, please share photos and information on the group, for example. I'd really like to take a look.
We would be really happy if you can make some posts on Facebook. So take picture, and even if you don't want to write a lot of things, but just post a picture of what you do and how you use classic and Duplo bricks. That would be nice.
Yeah, yeah. So hey, there's an example on how we might approach information processing. This is actually a picture that we have used in our study material. It's going to be like this picture is printed on swell paper, and it's just a bar chart, and the student is asked to like investigate it and find out information about it. And this has to do what I was talking about before, like you will be collecting letters and arranging them into bar charts. Then you can like really talk about like interpreting the bar chart, like which letter appears the most, which appears the least, and come up with some other questions like if you did these A and B letters together, what would it be more than the C letter, for example? Would the bar be higher or lower? So there's like a really lot of different ways to go with the classifying of information.
Just to see if I have understood correctly, that is to say that you use the bricks and you make a pile, a tower of bricks in different height. For example, in your example, you have 4 letter C. Is it a C? I can't. No. So
for example, yeah. For example, you could do it that you take the letters and you put them on, you arrange them on the board, that you attach them to the board, or yeah, you could make them into the pillars themselves as well. So I think it would be up to the teacher or the teaching assistant or whoever is there to like find out which way of representing the information would be best in that sense.
Yeah, but that's great because the student can really understand, because they can touch the towers, the pile, and so on, and really make a relation between what they can touch on paper and what they can touch in reality.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about here, that it might like really give it a concrete example of how it would work. And then other important part about computing to me is also about finding and recognizing the patterns that happen. For example, when you're doing programming, you are working with loops. You do this one thing, and then after that you do this other thing. What kind of pattern emerges there? This is also one task that we did for our study material. It's just basically asking, okay, you have these kind of patterns the 3 first times. Which kind of pattern comes next? And I think you could do this well with the bricks as well. Like you can have one brick and then you can turn it into this sort of like staircase kind of image, and just ask like, okay, what would the next picture look like, or what would be the next arrangement of bricks?
Great.
Please go on.
We have suggestions for your previous slide. Mike said it would be fun to count letters in sentences, and also you can play at trying to make sentences with different bar chart patterns. So you have all the letters, and then You have to write sentences only with those letters. That can be fun.
Okay. Hey, I'm feeling like this. My job here is almost done, because if you're already getting ideas on what to do for tasks, that's amazing and nice that you're getting some inspiration from this, and also vice versa. But yeah, then you can also go into, with the pattern seeking, you can go into thinking about, okay, if we jump from the third pattern to the sixth, like, can you come up with a rule that you can find out, like, how many bricks are there in the sixth pattern without going through all of the other ones? So here's also a lot of kind of different depths that you can really go into with the pattern seeking activities. And I'm gonna be saying that that's about it from my part here. I'm gonna be staying over, of course, for the whole hour. So if you have any questions afterwards to me, my name is Sami Määttä. I hopefully I said it at the start. If I didn't, now I say my name is Sami Määttä, and you can send me emails to the address that you see below, sami.maatta@celia.fi. And I think I'm also in the Facebook group, so it's easy to tag me there. But thank you all for sticking for this presentation.
And thank you for your amazing ideas. And I think it's time to go straight away to the next presenter from the Netherlands. So that's Eric. Just maybe before starting your presentation, Eric, can you give us a few words about your situation regarding the curriculum? Because I think that you've made a great job about trying to adapt and incorporate Lego Braille bricks in the Braille curriculum in the Netherlands. Can you just say a few words about that before starting?
Yeah, what we did last year, we launched Lego bricks in March last year, and we translated all the worksheets in Dutch. We made a website for it, so teachers can use that. Parapathetic teachers can use it, and teachers especially in special needs can use it. It's used now. They are starting to use it more. The pandemic didn't help that, because we want to give more courses in Dutch to help it, and it's now starting up that they can use the Braille bricks. So that's about the curriculum about Lego Braille bricks in Holland.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay.
So, maybe you can start, but just before, I would like to really thank you, because you are so passionate about science and Lego Braille bricks. So that's why we really wanted to have you today with us. So now it's your turn.
Oh, now it's my turn. Okay, good. I will share my screen now and see if I can. Yeah. And I'll play it, and I hope you can see my presentation now. Can you confirm that?
Yeah, but we can also see your text, and I think.
Oh, right. Then I do something wrong.
Yeah.
Right, one moment. That's not. And I practice this. Right. Wait. Where is? Oh. I am very technical, but not in this case. I see.
I think it's the setting on the top. You can show you have different types of play.
So, yeah, but I have to go back now to my. Okay.
And if you just press play, the blue button we have.
Yeah, but I can't go back to maybe.
Don't worry.
Yeah, you can't. Sorry for this, but I don't know why. Okay, I think I have to get out and then I go in again.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because I can't go into Zoom now. How do I do that?
If you stop share screen and then you start again to share
Is it,
screen, and then you can choose which window you
Oh, but
want.
I see it. I can see it. Now I can do it. Okay, sorry for that. I
That's
think
fine.
is this.
Don't worry, we always have trouble also. There's always sometimes a technical issue
Okay.
happening. And I can see that during that time, people are asking if they can get the notes, your note. So I don't know, Sami and Eric, if you would like us to share the presentation you made with some people if they ask for it.
Yeah. Can you? Which screen can you?
Oh, that's
see?
fine. We can see only the slide.
Only the slide. So now it's perfect. Okay. Sorry for that. I think you have to cut
That's
it out.
fine. No problem.
Okay. Now, welcome everybody that you want to watch my presentation. My name is Eric de Kwartel, and I work at Bartimeus Education in the Netherlands as a Braille coordinator and a biology teacher. I work with students from the age from 12 till 20 years, and they have a visual impairment, so they are partially sighted or blind. The students, when I teach, when they're at our school, most of them, they have challenging behavior, autism, ADHD, and some of them are just normal learning children and very intelligent. So the whole spectrum is in my class. The classes are not larger than 8 children. And in this presentation, I will provide you more with a template to work with the students in biology, where you can implement my ideas through learning through play. So I'll show you more what you can do with the Lego Braille bricks than the philosophy behind learning through play. And I will tell you something about cell division and inheritance. And for some of you, it might be going back in time when you had a biology lesson. Okay, I start with the basics, and that is cell division. In cell division, students have to be aware about the doubling of the nuclei, so the part of the cell which consists of chromosomes, and the cell growth. And therefore, I use the Lego bricks. It's presented with one brick on a plate, that's the nuclei, and the cell is presented by the plate. The cell division starts with one nucleus and ends with two different smaller boards, which you can see at the top right corner. And after cell division, the cell has to grow, and that you can see at the right bottom corner that the cell has grown, and there are now 2 cells, the same cells with the same nuclei, only 2 daughter cells, 1 mother cell and 2 daughter cells, and so on. Then we dive deeper into the cell, the nucleus, and we see the chromosomes. Each chromosome is made of many genes, and a human has in each cell 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs. And for each property, there are 2 genes. And genes can consist of many nucleotides, but I will talk about that later. During cell division, chromosomes spiral, which make them shorter. And in my lesson, I use a string, and I let the child twist it, and I twist it, and maybe for the people, I'm a little bit older now, who used the phone in the old days, in the 80s, it was always spiralized. And that's what I used to show that a chromosome spiralizes and gets shorter.
That's exactly the example that I liked and I understand.
Okay, good. The old days.
Yeah.
Now we're going a little bit into the Lego Braille bricks. The genes on a chromosome can be dominant or recessive. This can be presented with an extra brick for dominancy. And here you can see 1 dominant gene at the left and 1 recessive at the right. With these two genes for a property, like the length or weight or color, you can make 3 combinations. You can make a homozygote dominant. As you can see at the right, I added a brick to it, just a normal brick. The homozygote recessive in the middle, and the heterozygote. Now, to make crossings, to do crossings, we always use the Punnett squares, and I used always magnets. A monohybrid crossing can be represented by that Punnett square, and at the top you see the genes from the mother, and the sides, the left side from the father. For the people who can read Braille, this is swell paper, and at the right top you can see vrouw, which means woman in Dutch, and man. At the left is man in it's man in English. The magnets differ here in size and also in color. That's for me easy to see. And the 4 combinations for the genotype can be made. The magnets are on cell paper, and as you can see, there is a mistake in it. There should be like these 2 genes from the female and 2 genes from the male. This is right. This column, this should be all white, but this one should be black. And here should also be a black gene. So this is not completely finished, and the child can feel that. But now we have Lego Braille bricks. I still use this magnet board, but I also use the Punnett square on a small Lego board. And as you can see, the top left corner, I cut a bit out for orientation. And here you can see 3 types of monohybrid crossing. First, the heterozygote crosses the heterozygote. This is the female. You can see my mouse moving,
yeah.
I hope. Yeah, okay. And this is the male. You see in the columns, this is all red. Oh, one back, one to back. These are all the column, the genes from the female. Here the column, the genes, the recessive gene from the female, and here at the left, the red with the A is from the male. This is and this makes then in genotypes 1 homozygote dominant, 1 homozygote recessive, and 2 heterozygote. Now, and so on, you can explain it, you can play with that with the children. They can, in a big box, you can have those genes and they can do that themselves. This is another combination, it's homozygote times homozygote, and here's homozygote times heterozygote with these combinations. These combinations they have to use at my school in our curriculum, but for the higher levels you have dihybride crossings, and you have to use instead of 8 you need 36 32 Lego bricks. Now we go into the DNA. Because a chromosome is made of DNA. It's the building material of a chromosome, and therefore it is also the building material for genes. DNA strands are double and made of nucleotides, like a spiral staircase with 2 banisters. Each step is made of 2 nucleotides, and it is also called double-stranded. Now, there are 4 different nucleotides, which each complement each other. I will show you later how I represent it with the Braille bricks. In the cell division, the chromosomes have to be doubled. And here you see in replication, you see that the 2 strands, where the double helix, where a chromosome consists of, is separated, leaving us with 2 single strands. And that makes a perfect mold for the new DNA strand, because each strand complements the other. And with the Lego Braille bricks, I do that as follows. I use 4 Braille bricks, the T and the A, and the C and the G, each representing a nucleotide. And if I put that on a board, and in this case, I put it on a magnet board with a piece of paper under it, and I'll show you later how we do that with the magnets. This is at the left, you see a double helix, a DNA strand, and I separate them by moving the piece of paper. Like the child also can do that, and ending with with 2 single strands. Now, the student can add nucleotides to form the 2 double strands, as you can see at the right top, leaving us with 2 chromosomes, 2 double helix. And that makes it very tactile for the students to visualize or to see how replication is done. The next thing is that in a chromosome, in a gene, 3 nucleotides form a codon, and that codes for an amino acid. Now, an amino acid is the building material for proteins. And with this information, you yourself can play with the Lego bricks and make models with, say, 21 different Lego bricks to form a protein, which could be insulin, which is a massive molecule, only built of 2 of 21 different amino acids. Okay, now that you can all use this by learning through play. I put it here in Dutch. Can be creative. Children can be creative. They can be together, working together. It's physical. It's emotional. Especially when you work with children who are visually impaired. A lot of them, they have a syndrome. They have themselves. They can say something about the inheritance, why they have albinism, for example, and it's cognitive. And all this can do by play. And now, the last, I have 15 seconds, I think. I found out that I'm busy with a project drawing for blind children, and we use magnets there, and little magnets. And I saw by accident that those magnets fit in a Lego brick. And of course, you can put the Lego bricks on a plate, which is really handy and doesn't fall off. But sometimes it is easy to have them as a magnet. And I have here a board, and hope you can see it. All the magnets are on it and don't fall off, which makes it easy for the children to manipulate it. You can use it both ways, but you can use this as a tip. These magnets can be bought, are very, very cheap, and you just put them in the middle hole, and they it's an extra creative element to the Lego Braille bricks. That was my talk presentation.
Thank you. That was really, really interesting.
We have several comments from Mike in the chat. One, he says, if you stack 2 bricks, you can separate them to show cell division.
Yeah.
And also he's asking, how can you create a double helix in 3 dimensions with Lego? And I suggested maybe using Play-Doh to make ropes and make them look like the double helix.
Yeah, yeah. It's I use just the example of a staircase. I haven't made an Lego Braille bricks as a double helix. I just use the nucleotides for that. The double helix is also a visual representation of a molecule.
Yes.
So I'm not using that that part.
Okay.
Okay.
I can see that we have just 1 minute left. So maybe take the time to thank you all. Sami, Eric, with Mark, we are really happy to be able to show your work to everyone.
Yeah.
Just remind you, so thank you. Thank you for joining us. If
Okay.
you need the notes, people, you can write at info@legobraillebricks.com and ask for them. Don't forget that the webinar, the live session replay will be on YouTube. And in the chat, you just have the link to go and register for the next live session. So in May, it's going to be about music. So we will have one guest from New Zealand, and she used Lego bricks to for music lessons with one of her students. And we're going to have also several different ways to use them to write and code music. So music in May, and in June, orientation and mobility. So once again, many other experts for orientation and mobility, and you can find click in the link and find in the website all the information, the content of the live session, and the way to register. So I think just have now to say thank you again, and see you in
Thank
1
you,
month.
everyone, and see you very soon, we hope.